Very good morning to one and all. This is Dr. B. Santana Krishnan, Associate Professor, Department of EEE, Government College of Engineering, Board in Agno. I am going to handle the subject called Basic Electrical Electronics and Instrumentation Engineering for mechanical student. This presentation is prepared by Dr. B. Santana Krishnan, Dr. B. Paramasivam and Dr. S. Ramesh Kumar, Associate Professor, Department of EEE, Government College of Engineering, Board in Agno. I am going to discuss the subject called Basic Electrical and Electronics Engineering. It consisting of this presentation belongs to Unit 1, Unit 1 Electrical Circuit. It consists of basic circuit components, Ohm's law and Kirchhoff law, instantaneous power, inductor, capacitors, and independent and dependent sources, steady state solution of DC circuit using nodal analysis and mesh analysis, Thevenin's theorem, Norton's theorem, maximum power transfer theorem, linearity and superposition theorem. First, we are going to discuss about the network theory overview. Network theory is the study of solving the problem of electric circuit or electric network. In this introduction chapter, we are going to discuss about the basic terminology of electric circuit and the types of electrical network elements. The basic terminology includes electric circuit, electric network, current, voltage and power. So it is very imperative to gather some basic knowledge on this term before proceeding further. Let us start with electric circuit. Electric circuit contains a closed path or providing a flow of electron from a voltage source or current source. The element present in this electric circuit will be in series connection, parallel connection or combination of any series and parallel connection. Similarly, electric network need not contain any closed path for providing a flow of electron from voltage source or current source. Hence, we can conclude that all electric circuits are electric network, but the converse need not be same. Similarly, the current is generally represented by I. The flowing through a conductor is nothing but the time rate flow of charge. Mathematically, it can be written as I equal to dq by dt. Q is charge and its unit is coulomb, and T is the time and unit is second. So the current is nothing but movement of charging, or the charge generally called as the electron from one end to another end. The direction is also very important. The current may be, if you go for AC circuit, the direction going to be a forward direction as well as the reverse direction. If you go for a DC circuit, the current flow is only in unidirectional. So we are continuing network theory. As analogy of electric current can be throughout the thought of the flow of water through the pipe. Current is measured in terms of ampere. In general, electron current flow from negative terminal of sources to positive terminal, whereas conventional current flow from positive terminal to negative terminal. Already I told you it is in both direction, from positive to negative or negative to positive. The flow of current is maybe if you go for AC circuit, the flow of current direction is going to be both, and if you go for DC circuit, the current flow from unit direction only. So electron current is obtained due to the movement of free electron, whereas the conventional current is obtained due to the movement of free positive charge. Both these are called as the electric current. Similarly, voltage V is nothing but electromotive force that causes the charge electron to flow. Mathematically can be written as V equal to dW by dQ. W is the potential energy and it is unit is joule, and Q is the charge and the unit as coulomb. As an analogy, voltage can be thought of as a pressure of water that causes the water to flow through a pipe. It is measured in terms of volts. Similarly, we are going to talk about the power. Power is nothing but the time rate of flow of electrical energy. Mathematically, it can be written as P equal to TW by dt, where V is the electrical energy, W is the electrical energy, and it is measured in terms of joule, and T is in terms of second. We can rewrite the above equation. P equal to dW by dt multiply dW by dt equal to dW by dQ into dW by dQ by dt So we can replace dW by dq is nothing but V, and dq by dt is nothing but I. So the power is nothing but the product of voltage and current, and it is going to be measured. It is going to be measured um, in watts. We can classify the network element into various types based on some parameter following the types of network element: active element and passive element, linear elements and non-linear elements, bilateral elements and unilateral elements. These are the four network element types where we can classify the network element. So what is called active elements? Active elements deliver power to other element which are present in the electric circuit. Sometimes they may absorb the power like passive element. That means the active element have the capability of both delivering and absorbing the power. Example, voltage source and current source. Similarly, passive element can't deliver the power to other elements. However, they can absorb the power. That means the element either dissipate the power in the form of heat, or store the energy in the form of magnetic field or electric field. Example, resistor, inductor and capacitor. Resistor, inductor and capacitor. So linear elements and non-linear elements are, we can classify the network elements in linear and non-linear based on their characteristics, obey the property of linearity. Linear elements are the element that shows the linear relationship between voltage and current. Example, resistor, inductor and capacitor. Any variation in the resistor, the corresponding variation in the any variation, voltage variation in the resistor, the corresponding voltage variation in the current also in resistor. The similar property going to be applied for inductor as well as the capacitor. Non-linear elements are those that not show the linear relation between the voltages and current. Example, voltage source and current source. In non-linear element, there is no need of any linear variations. If current varies, there is no point going to vary the voltage, or if the voltage varies, there is no point to vary the current. So it is totally different from the linear element and non-linear element. Linear element means there is a change in voltage, the corresponding change in the current, or there is a change in current, the corresponding change in the voltage in case of linear element. If you go for non-linear element, there is a change in voltage, there is no need to change in current. Similarly, there is no change in current, there is no need to change in voltage. So this is the basic difference between linear element and non-linear element. Bilateral element and unilateral elements. Network elements can be also classified into bilateral or unilateral based on the direction of current flow through the network element. Basic bilateral elements are the element flows the current in both direction and offer the same impedance on the either direction of the current flow. Example, resistor, inductor, capacitor. We can see the diagram. You can see here, we can A and B is a terminal where the current flows from A to B with the circuit impedance Z. The direction of flow of current is from A to B. It is a bilateral element. In case of bilateral element, we can reverse the diagram. From the diagram 2, we can see here the current flows from B to A with the same impedance, of Z. With the same impedance of Z, the same voltage going to be applied across the impedance. So in bilateral element, current direction is both from A to B and B to A with the same impedance and same voltage. In unilateral element, those first allow the current to in only one direction, hence there is a different impedance in both directions. So it is not possible to maintain the same voltage and same impedance level if the current direction is going to be changed in case of unilateral element. So passive element. In this chapter, we are going to discuss in detail about the passive elements such as resistor, inductor and capacitor. These are the basic element of any electrical circuit: resistor and capacitor, inductor. Without these three elements, it is not possible to construct any kind of electrical circuit. So first we are going to talk about the resistor. The main functionality of resistor is either oppose or restrict the flow of electric current. Hence the resistor are used to limit the amount of current flow or dividing the voltage. Let the current flowing through the resistor is I ampere and the voltage is V volt. Then the symbol of resistor along the current I and voltage V are shown in figure. We can see here I is the current passing through the circuit, and V is the voltage going to be applied through the resistor. According to the Ohm's law, the voltage across the resistor is product of the current flowing through it and the resistance of the resistor. Mathematically, it can be represented V equal to IR, or you can write it I equal to VR. This equation 1 and equation 2 generally called as the Ohm's law, where R is the resistance of the resistor. For equation 2, we can conclude the current flowing through the resistor is directly proportional to the applied voltage across the resistor and inversely proportional to the resistance of the resistor. Then, what is the power in electric circuit? Power in the electric circuit can be represented as P equal to V into I. P equal to V into I. According to the Faraday's law, the voltage across the so we can substitute P equal to V into I. So we can substitute equation 1 in equation 3. So P equal to, instead of V, we can substitute V I into R. So the power can directly proportional to I square R, equation 4. Substitute equation 2 in equation 3. P equal to V square by R, equation 5. So we can calculate the amount of power dissipated in the resistor using the one of the formula to mention the equation 3 to 5. So we can have a calculation of power with various formula. P equal to VR, P equal to I square R, P equal to V square by R. These are the three terms we can able to calculate power from the resistor. Then we can go for next elements called inductor. In general, inductor will have a number of turns, hence the type of produced magnetic flux when current flows through it. So the amount of total magnetic flux produced by an inductor depends on the current I flowing through it, and they have linear relationship. Mathematically, psi I directly proportional to I. The psi equal to Li, where psi is the total magnetic flux and L is the inductance of the inductor. Inductance of the symbol. The diagram shows the corresponding circuit of inductor. According to the Faraday's law, the voltage across the inductor can be written as V equal to d psi by dt, where psi is nothing but L into I. We can substitute L into I by divided by dt. So V equal to L di by dt. So I equal to so we can take I in this side. We can transfer all these things. We can integrate to come out from the derivative. We can make an integration from which we can calculate the current I equal to 1 by L integral of V into dt. From the above equation, we can conclude that there exists a linear relationship between voltage across inductor and current flowing through it. We know the power in circuit. Electric circuit element can be represented P equal to V into I. Substitute V equal to L di by dt, L di by dt in above equation, from which we can calculate the power. Equal to PLI di by dt. Using this formula, we can calculate the power dissipated in the inductor. Similarly, we can calculate the next element is called capacitor. Next element is called capacitor. In general, a capacitor has two conducting plates separately by a dielectric medium. If positive voltage is supplied across the capacitor, then the stores positive charge. Similarly, if the negative voltage is applied across the capacitor, then it stores the negative charge. So the amount of charge stored in the capacitor depends on the applied voltage V across it, and they have linear relationship. Mathematically, it can be written as Q is directly proportional to V, or Q equal to CV, where Q is the charge stored in the capacitor. and C is the capacitance of the capacitor. The diagram shows the how the capacitor connected in the electric network. We know the current is nothing but the time of rate of flow of charge. Mathematically, it can be represented I dq by dt. So substitute q equal to cv in this above equation. So I equal to dcv by dt, dcv by dt. So that is I equal to C dV by dt. I equal to C dV by dt. From this above equation, we can calculate V equal to integral of I into dt. Similarly, we can calculate the power present in the capacitor. P equal to VI as a general equation. Substitute instead of I equal to C dV by dt. In this equation, we can get power equal to C dV by dt. Using this, we can able to calculate how much of amount of power can be stored in the capacitor. Stored in the capacitor. Next, we are talking about the Kirchhoff law. Kirchhoff law, network elements can be either active or passive type. Any electrical circuit or network contains one of these two types of network element or combination of both. Now let us discuss about the following law, which are popularly used, which are popularly known as Kirchhoff law, Kirchhoff current law, Kirchhoff voltage law. Kirchhoff current law, generally called as the KCL, state that the algebraic sum of the current leaving or entering in a node is equal to 0, or a node or sum of entering current equal to sum of leaving current. The node is a point where two or more circuit elements are connected to it. If only two circuit elements are connected to a node, then it's said to be a simple node. If there are three or more circuit elements are connected to a node, then it's said to be a principal node. Mathematically, KCL can be written as sigma IN equal to 0, where IM is the mth branch of the current leaving the node. M is the number of branches that are connected to the node. From the diagram, we can easily understand the KCL equation. Here P is the node. We are having 3 incoming current and 2 outgoing current, so that we can write the equation. Incoming current generally called as a negative current, and leaving current generally called as the positive current. So it also can be assumed as the entry current as the positive current and leaving current as the negative current. So vice versa, we can assume the current any one of the direction you can take positive and other direction going to be negative. According to the Kirchhoff current law, the total sum of algebraic sum of all the current going to be 0, or the algebraic sum of the entering current equal the algebraic sum of the leaving current. Similarly, Kirchhoff voltage law. Kirchhoff voltage law states that the algebraic sum of voltage around a loop or mesh is equal to 0. So what is loop? A loop is a path that terminates at the same node where it is started. It is like a circle. It starts from one point and ends with the same point. They generally called as the loop. In contrast, the mesh is a loop that does not contain any other loop inside it. So mesh is the structure. It is not containing loop in a circuit. It is a number of loop going to be connected together. So it is not a single loop. That is called mesh. So mathematically, sigma of Vm equal to 0, where Vn is the nth element of voltage in the loop, and capital N is the number of network element, number of network element in the loop or mesh. So from the diagram, we can easily understand where one voltage source is connected along with the two resistance, and the voltage drop across the resistance R1 is V1 and the resistance R2 is V2. So according to the Kirchhoff voltage law, the sum of all the voltage is going to be 0. Algebraic sum of all the voltage is going to be 0. V is a supply voltage, that is Vs minus V1 minus V2 equal to 0, or supply voltage equal to V1 plus V2. That means the source voltage equal to the dissipated voltage. The dissipated voltage generally called as a V1 and V2. Then active element. Active elements are in the network element first that deliver power to other element present in the electric circuit. So active elements are so called as source of voltage or current type. We can classify these sources in the following two categories: independent sources and dependent sources. So we are talking about the sources now, independent sources and dependent sources. Independent sources produce a fixed voltage values of voltage or current, and these are not dependent of any other parameter. These are not any other parameter. Independent sources can be further divided into following two categories: independent voltage source, independent current source. Independent voltage sources generally called as produces current voltage across constant voltage across its two terminal. This voltage is independent of the amount of current that flowing through the two terminal of the voltage sources. Independent ideal voltage source and its VI characteristics are shown. This is an independent ideal voltage, so it consisting of only a one supply voltage and followed by a current. There is generally called as a DC waveform. This generally called as a VI characteristic. It contains voltage and current characteristics. Voltage and current characteristics. Then we can draw the equivalent circuit of the corresponding voltage. So ideal voltage is the second diagram shows the ideal voltage and practical voltage. Ideal voltage is the constant voltage. Practical voltage is based on the internal resistance. The voltage going to be vary because of the internal resistance. There is a drop in the applied voltage. So the practical voltage slightly lesser than the ideal voltage. But all electrical circuit that have a minimum internal resistance, it is not possible to get the same voltage, applied voltage in the end point. So independent current source, the diagram shows the independent current source. It contains only the current, and the VI characteristics of the current source is also mentioned here. Similarly, the current source, the ideal and practical currents are different. Ideal is a constant current. Whatever the current is supplied by the corresponding voltage source, that is maintained. But practical, there is based on the internal resistance, there is a change in the current. So there is a slight deviation in the practical current. That is clearly shown in the VI characteristic. VI characteristics. So dependent sources, dependent voltage sources produces voltage across the two terminal, the amount of this voltage is depend on the some other voltage or current. Hence, the dependent voltage sources can be further classified into following two categories: voltage dependent voltage source, current dependent voltage source. Voltage dependent voltage source, current dependent voltage source. Similarly, dependent current sources produces a current. The amount of this current depends on the sum of other voltages or current. Hence, dependent current sources can be further classified into the following two categories: voltage dependent current sources, current dependent current sources. Voltage dependent voltage sources, current dependent current sources. So dependent sources are entirely depends on the voltage and current in the corresponding source. Either it is a voltage source, either it is a current source. So how the source transformation technique going to be implemented? How the source transformation can be implemented? From the diagram you can see here. First, the voltage is given with the internal resistance Vs into Rs. This voltage source can be converted into current source. If you are going for a voltage source, the resistance is connected series with the voltage source. If you want to convert it as the current source, the voltage source is converted as a current source. The series resistance connected parallel with the current source. So we can able to transfer the voltage source to current source. Similarly, current source to voltage source. From the second diagram, you can see the current source is connected with the parallel resistance Rs. Now it is going to be converted into voltage source. The voltage source connected to series with the resistance. So we can able to either you can able to convert from voltage source to current source, by current source to voltage source. So remember that the voltage source always having series resistance, the current source always having the parallel resistance in the circuit. So electric quantity division principle, how the electric quantity going to be divided. You can go for the current division principle. First you can take the diagram. The current source is connected with two parallel circuit resistor R1 and R2. There is a current flow I1 in each branch, I1 and I2. According to the Kirchhoff voltage current law, total supply Is equal to I1 plus I2. There is a derivation followed by derivation. We had discussed about the derivation, how the derivations are made. We can apply. Similarly, voltage division. Voltage division features. From the diagram, we can see here there is a supply voltage followed by a series of resistor R1 and resistor R2. According to the Kirchhoff voltage law, the supplied voltage equal to the dissipated voltage V1 plus V2. There is a derivation is given. You can go through the derivation from which we can calculate the what is the voltage dissipated in resistor R1 and resistor R2. So this is the basic of electrical network. In this chapter, we are discussing about the basic of electrical network, how the electric circuits are defined, what is mean by electric circuit, what are the basic elements of electrical circuit, what are the sources, how the sources are transferred from voltage source to current source, from current source to voltage source, what is the linear relationship between the current and voltage, what are the basic concept of what are the basic concept of electric circuit. There is nothing but the resistor, inductor and capacitor, how the powers are measured using resistor, capacitor, inductor through some calculation. So remaining thing we are going to discuss in the next video.